I want to talk to you about takeoff in terms of having a discussion with another person in terms of the gospel of Christ. An important part of the process is takeoff. It's often the most difficult for people inside the church to try and broach the topic of the Christian faith for the sake of others, that they might believe and experience all the goodness of the gospel. I borrow heavily from Evangelism Explosion. Unapologetically, because I think it's a very good training format that encourages people to follow these 5 steps. I use the acrostic SCOTT, SCOTT, and the first one's secular life. The second one is church background. The O is for our church, their impression. The first T is for testimony, that is for yourself. And then the last T is about the 2 diagnostic questions that they encourage you to ask. So the principles behind the word SCOTT and behind the ideas are very, very important. And in this short video, I can't really do it justice, but I'll do a quick attempt. In terms of SCOTT, secular life, it basically means that we should learn all we can, using good questions, to discover about a person, not so much what they believe as much as what they live for. What are the important things that they live for? Where their energy goes, what their devotion, where their devotion lies. So finding out as much as you can is very, very important. In terms of C for church background, this, of course, with so few people attending church nowadays, it means more than that. It means their religious history, and it can be, in a multicultural place like Australia, it can mean all sorts of different religious background. But it's important to know these things, and if not them, their parents or even their grandparents, about their history in terms of where their loyalties are likely to lie. And you can discover quite a bit about a person when you discover their church history or their religious history. In terms of our church, their impression, the O in SCOTT, the O really, what it means is that we need to discover a little bit about how they would view our perspective on life. In terms of getting a little bit of an understanding in terms of what their objections might be, in terms of your own group that you participate in terms of, obviously, the gospel includes the community life that Christ is developing, and that includes the community life around you. So how do they react to your own religious background and history in terms of your church group, or, it might be, how do they view Pentecostalism, or how do they view the Protestant church or the Catholic church, or it could be their Buddhist or Hindu history. So you need to discover a lot about that. And those first 3 letters, SCO, are very significant in terms of discovering more about the person before you ever present the Christian faith. The testimony really is an emphasis, in Evangelism Explosion they talk about church or personal. Basically, it's a segue through which, when you go from their response to your religious group, you can segue to be able to talk about your experience of your church group, and therefore your experience of eternal life and how you've come to experience the good news of Christ. So the testimony is a very good bridge, very important bridge, bridging from their response to your own kind of experience, what they think of it. And you can give your thoughts about how you feel. Obviously, it would be a positive testimony in terms of what God has done through this group, and how you might encourage others to participate. The last T in SCOTT is the 2 diagnostic questions. And this is important in terms of trying to ascertain both a question of assurance. Do you know for certain that you have eternal life? This is a sense of confidence or faith to try and determine if they have some confidence about their eternal well-being. The second question, the two diagnostic questions, of course, the significant one in terms of God's why. It's if you died today and God was to ask you, why should I let you into heaven? What would you say? And this obviously segues from assurance, people's confidence as to how they feel about their future, to the basis on which that future is built. They may have false hopes or false ideas that may need correcting. And again, we're discovering more and more about the person that we're hoping to communicate the faith to. And we can tailor our presentation of the gospel accordingly. And so we want to know if they understand what the scriptures teach as to how a person might have eternal life and how they might have real assurance and not some kind of false assurance. And if they really, with the second diagnostic question, have any comprehension of justification by faith. So this is a very important thing. I highly recommend Scott, Secular Life, Church Background, Our Church, Their Impression, Testimony, and two diagnostic questions. Okay? Thanks.